a small, tight-knit town called Millwood in rural Vermont. The town is known for its dense forests, serene lake, and a long-forgotten tragedy that still haunts its few remaining residents. The story follows Sarah, a 32-year-old freelance journalist who has been working on a series of articles about mysterious disappearances in small towns across the United States. After a traumatic experience where her younger sister, Lily, vanished from a summer camp when they were kids, Sarah has dedicated her life to uncovering the truth behind such cases. Her latest lead takes her to Millwood, where entire families have seemingly vanished overnight, leaving their homes, cars, and personal belongings behind. Sarah arrives in Millwood on a gloomy autumn evening. The town has an eerie, abandoned feel, with only a few scattered residents, most of whom are elderly. They avoid talking about the disappearances and warn Sarah to leave before nightfall. She checks into the only motel, run by an old man named Harold, who tells her the story of the town's curse in hushed tones. In 1952, the town was vibrant and full of life, but everything changed after a tragic accident during the annual town festival. A fire broke out in the old town hall, killing over 30 people, including children and the mayor's entire family. The mayor, driven mad with grief, cursed the town, proclaiming that Millwood would never know peace and that its people would pay for their neglect and indifference. Soon after, the disappearances began. Families would vanish without a trace, and those who remained were plagued by nightmares and strange occurrences. It's said that the spirits of the dead call out to the living, luring them into the forest and the lake, where they're never seen again. Intrigued but skeptical, Sarah decides to investigate further. She visits the old town hall, now a charred ruin, and the lake where several families were last seen. She meets a few more residents, including Mary, a frail old woman who lost her son to the lake's dark waters. Mary tells Sarah about the Lake Whisperer, a mysterious figure who appears near the water at dusk, whispering the names of those who are about to disappear. Sarah, while recording her observations, notices strange patterns. Families who disappeared were all connected to the original victims of the fire. It's as if something is systematically erasing the descendants of those who survived that night. That night at the motel, Sarah experiences strange phenomena. Her camera and recorder turn on by themselves, capturing faint voices whispering her name. She dreams of her sister standing at the edge of the lake, calling out for help. Sarah wakes up in a cold sweat and finds a muddy footprint by her bed, leading out of her room. She follows the trail to the lake, where she sees the shadowy figure of the Lake Whisperer. As she approaches, the figure disappears into the fog, and Sarah hears her sister's voice again, pleading, "Help me, Sarah. I'm still here." She collapses, overwhelmed by the memory of losing her sister and the guilt that has haunted her ever since. The next day, Sarah meets with Harold again, who reveals a shocking secret. The mayor's curse wasn't just the result of grief. He had delved into dark rituals, trying to bring back his family. He accidentally unleashed something evil, something that now haunts the town, feeding on grief and sorrow. The disappearances are not random, they're sacrifices. Harold believes that Sarah's arrival is not a coincidence. He shows her a photograph of the mayor's family, and Sarah is stunned to see a young girl who looks exactly like her sister. Harold explains that the mayor's daughter was never found after the fire, and that Sarah's family might be connected to Millwood's dark past. Determined to save her sister's soul and end the curse, Sarah goes back to the lake that night. She performs a ritual that Harold suggested, calling out to the spirits of the lost. The fog thickens, and the Lake Whisperer appears again. But this time Sarah is not afraid. She confronts the figure, demanding to know where her sister is. The figure points to the water, and Sarah sees countless faces beneath the surface, lost souls trapped including her sisters. She realizes that to break the curse, she must face the source of the evil. Following the voices, Sarah makes her way to the old town hall ruins. There, in the basement, she finds a hidden chamber filled with the remains of the original victims and a sinister altar. The air grows cold, and the spirits of the lost begin to manifest, surrounding her. The Lake Whisperer, revealed to be the tormented soul of the mayor, appears, twisted and corrupted. With her sister's spirit beside her, Sarah confronts the mayor's ghost, forgiving him for what he did. She places a photo of the mayor's family and a pendant her sister used to wear on the altar, breaking the cycle of hatred and sorrow. The spirits scream and then fade away, finally at peace. As dawn breaks, Sarah emerges from the ruins, exhausted but relieved. The town seems lighter, almost normal, but she knows it will take time to heal. She decides to leave, feeling a sense of closure. As she drives out of Millwood, she gets a call from her editor asking for an update on the story. Sarah explains everything she experienced, sounding relieved yet emotionally drained. The editor listens patiently and then hesitantly asks, "Sarah, are you sure you're all right? You've been missing for a week." Confused, Sarah checks her phone's calendar and realizes it's been 7 days since she first arrived in Millwood. She has no memory of the missing time. Panic sets in as she pulls over by the roadside, trying to make sense of it all. Suddenly, she sees something in her rearview mirror, a dark figure standing in the middle of the road. It's the Lake Whisperer, but this time it's not the mayor. It's her own reflection, distorted and terrifying. She feels a cold hand on her shoulder and turns around, but no one is there. Her sister's voice whispers in her ear, "You were never meant to leave, Sarah." Realization dawns on her. She's still in Millwood. The town never let her go. She looks around, and the fog starts to close in, the road stretching endlessly. Her car won't start, and the fog begins to seep into the vehicle, filling it with darkness.